Planners and bullet journals, art projects, organized planner sheet. Well, hello planner babes, and welcome to Organized Planner Chic. I'm Lucinda, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do so and select the bell for notifications. Well, first, I want to thank all my Patreon members who help make it possible to create videos like this. Well, thank you guys so much. And if you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, just go to patreon.com/organizedplannerchic. Okay, you guys, I'm going to show you how I made this DIY Dollar Tree planner cover and all of the accessories that go with it. So I am starting with a piece of vintage fabric. It is not actual vintage fabric. It's fabric that I bought at Joann's, and I'm just going to use this to make a slip-on cover for my bullet journal. You can make it for any planner. I'm just using it for my bullet journal, and I meant to start this project off with some Dollar Tree Mod Podge. I do have it, and I am going to switch to it here in just a little bit, but just out of habit, I grabbed my really big jar. And I really did not need to, because I'm only going to be adding glue to the edges to basically make a seam. So this is a no-sew project. All you need is some fabric and some Dollar Tree Mod Podge, because it doesn't take very much. I'm going to switch here in a little bit. You'll see where I'll just be squeezing the bottle along the edge, then folding that up, and then putting some more on top of that fold to make a seam. So yeah, I'm just using this brush, and I'm going to speed it up here a little bit because I'm doing the same motion over and over. And what I decided to do was do the first part, just do the folding in or putting the glue down and then folding that up all around. I'm sorry, let me take that back. I put it on like I'm doing right now, folded it up and just really smoothed it and pressed it down. And you put a lot of Mod Podge on here to do this. And then after I smoothed that down, then I went back over it with the brush on the top to add some more glue to it. And I just did that, all of those steps on one side at a time, and then I switched over to another side. And now I've done it all. I've got my folded up seam on everything, and I'm just double checking now to make sure that I have enough fabric. Well, not really, I kind of did that earlier because you want to do that before you start gluing, but to kind of see if my pockets are turning out the way that I thought I wanted to. It is just kind of double checking. I just do that because sometimes when I don't and I think, oh, I'm good, I don't need to double check anything, then it doesn't turn out like I wanted to. So I'm just kind of seeing how far my pockets are going, and then marking where I think I want them to be. You know, you can start this step off if you want to instead by just kind of folding it in the middle and finding your center. I did that after the fact, but you can take all of your fabric, fold it in the center, place your bullet journal. And I used a bullet journal cover, a traveler's notebook that I used to hold my bullet journal as my reference. So that's what you saw in there. And that way I knew it was going to be the right size. And so then I folded the pockets over and just kind of saw, okay, I'm in the middle pretty much. My pockets are going to be about this wide. That's good. And then I marked on the fabric where I thought I wanted my pockets to lie. And then after that, I just, again, checking and double checking. After that, I folded it in half and just really, messed with it, made sure it looked like it was about even on each side of the fabric for each pocket. And then when I was happy with it, then I said, okay, I know where my pockets are going to be. I've marked that on both sides, and now I'm going to apply Mod Podge to that area to secure the pockets at the bottom and at the top. Now, here's a really important thing to note is that glue is going to spread. So it's better to have a little more fabric than you think you need at the top and the bottom than to have too little, because that glue is not going to just lie exactly where you want it to. It's going to spread a little bit. Now, if that does still happen, which it did happen a little bit for me when I got ready to put my bullet journal inside of the pockets, you can still move it really slowly. I mean, Mod Podge secures very well once it is permanently dry, which is overnight. But, you know, before overnight, maybe after it's been drying for about 4 hours or so, you can kind of slip your cover inside there and gently just see if it's going to fit. And if it looks like, oh, it's a little too tight, then you can pull around the fabric really slowly and gently to loosen that up. You don't want to go too fast because you can rip the fabric. And then even so, I think I've done that before, even after it's dried overnight. If you're really slow and careful, you can separate the glue from the fabric a little bit. Now, when I've made traveler's notebooks covered with fabric where I covered the fabric over cardboard, like where I reused an old baking soda box or washing soda box or cereal box, then it would not come off because it definitely is just really, really tight on there for those two pieces of material, the cardboard and the fabric. And again, it is super strong. Even though it's fabric to fabric, it really holds really, really well. But if you wait, you know, if you try to separate it before it's 100% permanent, you should be able to slowly just separate a little bit. Again, you have to go slowly because if you go too hard and too fast, you'll rip the fabric because the glue is a really good strong glue. Now, so here it is. Everything has dried overnight. I've slipped the cover in the front and the back, or actually I had not done it overnight yet. I'm sorry. I had let it dry for a few hours at that point. Now I wanted to show you guys I made this. I did post a picture on my community tab for YouTube, and I just wanted to show you this is where I have it drying out on my DIY patio table that I made out of concrete blocks and wood pallets and some what do you call it, just a plain sheet of board. I can't even think of the word, y'all. That wood right there, and some big old nails, and I'm really happy with it. Oh my goodness, I'm so proud of myself. So it's just, and this little chair pad came from Goodwill, and those chairs were like $12.98 from Lowe's. So yeah, I'm really happy with this setup right here, and I posted other pictures where you can see the whole patio on Instagram, so you can check that out. Now back to what I was saying. So after it had dried about 4 hours or so, then I slipped the pockets in there to test it. This isn't on camera, but I did have to separate it just a little bit on the edges to make sure it slipped in there very, very well. And so it did, and then now it has dried overnight. And I keep saying that wrong. I'm so sorry. It has not dried overnight yet. Okay, it has not dried overnight yet. So again, after about 4 hours, I checked to see if it would fit. I had to separate the glue just a little bit. I slipped the cover in on one side. I didn't slip it on the right side yet because I have to kind of bend the bullet journal to do that, and I'll show you when we get to that point. But after about 4 hours of drying outside, then what I am doing is I put some more glue and some binder clips right there in the inside edges because a couple of places didn't secure like I wanted it to. And then, so I want to make sure it's really, really good. Sometimes that happens, even when I'm gluing it to other things. And now I'm just taking the Mod Podge and putting a little extra glue along all of the edges just to make sure that it dries, or that it's really, really secure. And then I'm just wiping off the excess because we don't need that excess, especially because sometimes that excess will seep through and then you'll have a spot that's glued that you don't want glued. And if you think you've done that or you're concerned about that, then what you can do is just slip something inside the pocket, you know, like a pair of scissors or anything that will put some space between the top layers so that you don't have, you know, the pocket glued in the middle of it somewhere together. Yeah, so I'm just putting that. I hope that all makes sense, you guys. If it doesn't, just let me know in the comments below and I will explain. Okay, now it is drying overnight, and while it's doing that, I'm going to work on a couple of other things that are going to go with this, because you guys may be wondering, well, what's Christmassy about this? Well, I'm going to show you now. So while that's drying, I'm just taking my current bullet journal cover, which is a traveler's notebook that I made ages ago. I've featured it in tons of videos. And I'm going to measure out to make the tie that I want. So at first I was just going to take this Dollar Tree yarn, which I think is so beautiful. It's for making scarves. I got some hot pink as well. Not in this video, but I did get some there. And so I was just going to wrap it around this current cover and tie, but I was like, no, I need to make sure I put the bullet journal inside to make sure I have the right thickness and I'm getting the right amount of yarn for what I'm really working with. So I'm just cutting a piece of that that's going to be my tie, and then I want to tie the ends of them in a knot just because I think it'll give a nice look, because this is really a vintage looking Christmas journal, and I really want it to look like it kind of came from the 19th century, the 1800s, Victorian period. And so yeah, I'm just tying a little knot there on each end, and I love how this yarn just has these varying colors of green, which is so perfect, because if you're not familiar with my channel, my craft room is pink and green, and it just is going to look so lovely in this space. So yeah, I'm just getting that other knot and making sure everything looks like, okay, yes, this will work. This is about the length that I want, and it should lay very nicely on the other cover that I'm going to be using. Okay, now I am taking some Dollar Tree pink acrylic paint in this bottle right here, and some Dollar Tree acrylic paint in a tube. Now, I didn't need to pour as much paint as I did. In fact, I think if I had poured a lot less of the pink, and I could have gotten to a much lighter shade of pink is what I wanted. So I wound up using all of this white in this tube to try to get to a much lighter color. I did wind up getting to a much lighter color than this hot pink, but not as light as I wanted to. And I just didn't want to add any more paint, because I thought, you know, I'll use this. It'll work well enough, because there are other things that I'm painting today, was painting today for Christmas for my craft room. And I thought I'll just paint a bunch of stuff today using this shade. But if I wanted to, I think if I, again, had started with a lot less pink, it would have worked out. So now what I'm doing is I'm painting some of the sticker ornaments, the wooden sticker ornaments that I got from Dollar Tree. I did feature these in a haul for Christmas DIY supplies. So all of them are not going to be part of this DIY, but I'm going to use the other ones on my DIY Christmas tree for my craft room. But two of them, as you saw in the beginning, are going to be in my today's DIY. And I'm using a Dollar Tree paintbrush, so yeah. And now it is the next day, and it is the next day for the cover. And I'm cutting just a little excess. I had some fabric that just kind of hung over in a couple of spots, and I'm just cutting that so it will look nice and neat and clean. There's plenty of glue. It's all dry now. Everything is a-okay. Again, I mean, I could have left this because, you know, Victorian things, most people made all of their Christmas stuff. The people who could buy stuff in stores, there weren't very many. They were the wealthy. And so, you know, I like that this kind of has a rough look to it. You'll see that especially when you look at the ornaments I've painted. And so I am slipping the back cover in there first. And then for the front cover, trust me, you can do this. Don't worry. Don't be afraid to just bend it, because it is a soft cover to fit into the very front, or soft cover bullet journal to fit into the very front of this little slip cover that we're using. And then my perfectionist side is going to really show at this point, because I keep adjusting it to make it perfect. I wanted it to have the same amount of excess fabric on the front and the back so that they look like, you know, everything matched perfectly. And all you do is just slide it around to do that. You'll hear a little noise, you guys. My husband is coming in the door. So, hey, honey. And so now, yeah, I'm just adjusting it to get it in there perfect. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it looks so nice, and plenty of pocket space. Oh, I'm so thrilled with this fabric. I'm so glad, and it's left over from some projects from that I did for other people last year for Christmas. So yeah, look at that. Oh my goodness, I'm getting tired of looking at myself adjust this fabric, y'all. It's fine, Lucinda, let it go. Okay, so now I can put my ribbon or my yarn on here that I'm using as a ribbon or as a tie and make that bow again. It's so pretty. I think this green just really matches all of the colors here in this vintage cover. Now, when it comes to that pink that I use, even though I got a lighter color, it's still not quite the color that I would have wanted, because really the colors in the flowers here are sort of a mauvish maroon and then a really pale pink, and my pink is not pale, but that's okay. I think it works. I think it all blends really well. So yeah, so I think you can leave the bow alone now, Lucy. Okay, so now I've got the two pieces of the snowflakes there in pink, and now I need to paint my other ornaments. Again, those snowflakes were from Dollar Tree. This green paint is from Dollar Tree, and this little container I'm using is from Dollar Tree. It's a Dollar Tree paintbrush, a different size. And so is are the wood pieces, these really thin wood pieces. Got to be careful with those, you guys. You can break them pretty easily. And so that container that's holding the paint was originally Dollar Tree coconut oil lotion. And so after I used all the lotion, then I just pulled the label off. It's really easy. You don't have to soak it at all. And then it's perfect for storing leftover paint because it's plastic and it will, the paint will still be good to use over and over and over until you're all done with it. Yeah, and so I just sped this up because I'm just painting again. And of course I painted 2 coats on both sides of each one, and I didn't worry about having the paint be really opaque because I wanted it to have that old handmade vintage look. And now I'm just taking some embroidery thread and kind of a cream color. It almost has like a little yellow tint. I think it matches the background of my fabric really, really well. And so I didn't want to go with white because it would just be too contrasting. And so now I'm just taking my thread and I'm putting it through the little ornament, the snowflake ornament, and then through the bell ornament. And then I'm doing the same thing through on the other one. It's a snowflake and a Christmas stocking. And then I'm just going to tie those around the yarn, and they'll just be like little charms. And I think they're so cute and so vintage, and oh my goodness, and so fun. I don't know if during Victorian times someone at home would have made wooden pieces to cut out, maybe, but they might have used paper or fabric. Just cut out these pieces in fabric as well. And so now I'm just going to tie them on either side of the bow from the yarn, because if I tie them onto one of the loops of the bows, then they'll just be in the way every time that I want to tie or untie the ribbon. And so it just works out so much better to do it right there. Yeah, and then I decided to tie them into the little bunny ears bows and then just double the bunny ears. I can't think. Slip knot? I think that's what it's called. Or loose slip knot. I can't remember what it's called. I want to say a slip knot. If you remember what that's called, tell me in the comments below. And also, if you are doing any DIY journal or bullet journal or planner or notebook that you're decorating, let me know in the comments below if you have plans to do that, or if you've started doing that already. If you're doing something vintage, let me know that as well. This is so fun, you guys, and so unique and personal to you. And so I think this just, this makes me so happy. They are so big, but I wanted them to be big. I felt like something small would really get lost into the fabric, and I think this way it just really works together. Okay, you guys, well, let's go ahead and look all inside and see how it all works. I'm so excited, you guys. Well, while you do that, I want to thank you so very much for watching my video today, and I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe and comment and share. It really helps my channel a lot, you guys. And also, if you want to check out all of my different pictures on Instagram of my different creative ventures and adventures. Just go to @OrganizedPlannerChic. Now this bookmark is from my playlist of videos for fall DIYs for planners, so check that out, you guys. So yeah, on Instagram it's @OrganizedPlannerChic. And if you guys decide to recreate anything that you see on my channel, be sure and tag me so I can see that and celebrate and comment for you guys in support of what you're doing in your creative adventures. And also, I have 2 Facebook groups. The one for anyone around the world is called Organized Planner Chic Crew. And there we do giveaways. And you guys, I put this little thing that I'm pulling in and out of the pocket, I put it through my fabric pocket, and then I took it out and I put it back inside the bullet journal pocket. And the bullet journal pocket was way tighter, so my fabric pocket was a-okay. All right, so my Facebook group for anyone around the world is Organized Planner Chic Crew. We do giveaways and we post just about every day lives and videos and photos and all that good stuff. And then my local group is called Phoenix Planner Friends for Christ. We normally meet in person once a month, but because of COVID, we've been doing everything on Facebook. And I'm going to be sending out a message to see if we can try to get together in person outside or something, or a bigger place so we can social distance for the second weekend in November. So let's see if that works out, you guys. Yeah, so then if you also are interested in supporting me on Patreon, just go to patreon.com/organizedplannerchic. And until next time, everyone, happy planning!